A few words from our sponsors before the show. A huge thank you to show sponsors Southern Maryland Relief in Mechanicsville. Southern Maryland Relief offers deli-style concentrates and flour. If you are new to cannabis or looking to try out new strains, deli-style is the way to go. But what makes Southern Maryland Relief stand apart is their commitment to the community, and it shows in every interaction. A great time to stop by the shop is weekends, where if you bring a friend, you both get 20% off your order. You can learn more at somdrelief.com and visit the team at 28105 Three Notch Road in Mechanicsville, and you can give them a call at 301-242-3200. Thank you, Southern Maryland Relief. Herbology of Maryland, delivering to patients in Carroll County, Montgomery County, and surrounding areas. Save 10% off your first delivery when you order today. Call their Westminster store at 443-487-4552 or visit them at 700 Corporate Center Court, Westminster, Maryland. You can contact the Gaithersburg store at 240-654-0911 or visit them at 106 North Frederick Avenue, right off of Route 355. And you can visit myherbology.com for all additional details. Herbology, dreaming green. I have some exciting news to share. Did you know that you can have your hemp products tested in Maryland? I just sent over a new CBD product I want to start using to Atlantic Test Labs. Testing is simple, safe, and accurate with Atlantic Test Labs. To send in your CBD product to be tested, visit AtlanticTestLabs.com and use the code MJTalks10 for 10% off of your hemp testing. When I get the test results back, I will share them on Instagram. The podcast today is brought to you by the creative group at Evermore Cannabis Company. Evermore is responsible for some of the most unique cannabis in the Maryland market. What I personally love about Evermore is their focus on quality and procedure to ensure that the patient experience is unique and rewarding. They've recently released new flower strains, orange fruit snacks, big lemons, and airborne skunk. And the raspberry discos are my absolute favorite. They are critical to me getting any sleep during my first few weeks of surgery. They also have pink lemonade discos if you love that strain. When you're ready for more Evermore, stop by their conveniently located dispensary at 1636 Reisterstown Road in Pikesville, Maryland, right off of the 695 Beltway, exit 20, and you can visit them at evermorecompany.com. If you are in the hospitality or cannabis industry, you will want to meet me at Pure Life Wellness on Tuesdays for Industry Day, where you will get 25% off your order. Visit them at 35 East Cross Street in the heart of Federal Hill. Visit purelifebaltimore.com for more details, and I will see you on Tuesday. The Cannabis Science Conference is back in town April 6th through the 8th at the Baltimore Convention Center. You don't have to be a scientist to appreciate this conference. This will be my third time going, and I am just as excited as the first. The passion and the energy that you will feel while you are there will be unlike anything else that you could experience. So please join me, Josh, and Andrea, and the entire gang from the Cannabis Science Conference on April 6th through the 8th. You can visit CannabisScienceConference.com to purchase tickets. Use the code MJ25 to get 25% off your tickets. Come geek out with me. Do you suffer from chronic pain or illness? Do you feel like you've tried everything and still haven't found relief? If this sounds like you, James Hyland, a holistic lifestyle coach, can help. He works with people who have been recently diagnosed to those who have been suffering for decades, with the goal in mind to achieve optimal wellness. I've been a client of James for the past year, and I can personally attest to the amazing work that he's done in my life. From everything introducing celery juice to my daily routine, to helping me with breathing and meditation to help with anger and rage issues. If you would like to experience the magic that is James, you can email him at james@sparkvisionnow.com. You can also follow him on Facebook, James Hyland, Holistic Wellness Coach. Welcome everyone to another episode of Conversations with Maryjane. I'm so excited to have Alan Upshur with GoSo Mortgage with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Alan.
Of course. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I just want to jump right into it. So, you wrote a book called From Prison to Paradise. And so I want you to tell me a little bit about what that's book about. So your first page was written when you were 18,
Yes.
and you were laying in bed in the county jail, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, take it up from there.
So the idea of doing it was actually my father. He pretty much told me in a real blunt way that, hey, look, you're going to be there. You can't leave. You can't get out of there. So you might as well record it and make the best out of your time there. And I said, you know what? You're right. It makes sense. I could look back when this is over because they'll end, and I could use this as motivation, not just for myself, but for others. So ever since that first day, I would just write the thoughts and emotions and, my strategy on what I can do to get out of here. It was like therapeutic all the way through. Didn't know that, I would be continuing it on my second incarceration because I just thought after that first incarceration, I do my 18 months, I got my journal entries, and then that'd be that.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, I went back to prison again, and I just actually continued those journal entries. And so I got over 5.5 years worth of journal entries. And I used that and comprised it into a small 50-page book because it's going to be the first of many books for me.
Yeah.
But Prison of Paradise, to answer your question, it's a mentality. Prison isn't a location. It isn't, somewhere you get warehoused at and you're in there behind bars. We all can have our own prisons in life.
Absolutely.
So the whole idea of me making the book Prison of Paradise was to let people know that this was my prison and this is how I got to my form of paradise. But you can use yours by using my scenarios and how I lived and use that to relate to your own life. Figure out what your prison is or what potentially could be your prison. Use that as your fuel, use that as your obstacles to overcome to be successful.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned that very early on in the book, that it's a mindset like everyone. I mean, I know I've been caught in prison for a very long time, and it's very freeing. So tell us about your second incarceration. What led to you serving those, what was it, 3.5 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was actually in college. When I came home from prison, that next year went right back to college. And I was actually in an honors dorm room, actually. I was in University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, and I decided, since my finances were low, that I wanted to sell cannabis. And as time went by, I got pretty good, pretty fast at it, and I was at different places and different institutions, different colleges selling weed. And ironically, when I went to prison for the first time, which was robbing, someone tried to rob me. When they tried to rob me, they pulled a gun on me, the gun jammed. I used to keep knives on me. I had a knife fetish. I stabbed him. I thought I got away, and then hours later, the SWAT team came, locked me up. I'm facing attempted murder. At the time, I thought it was murder because they were saying the guy could possibly die. So just like my whole life, just 360. I was exercise science major, almost close to a 4.0 GPA. I think I was like a 3.89. And it was just like I didn't take advantage of my education. I was that college student who was getting the good grades and doing everything this way, but on the side, I wanted to sell weed. I didn't think I was, it wasn't that bad because I wasn't hurting anybody. But
and you did it for money, though, right? Like you needed that to help fund your education, right? That was like what you chose to do that.
Definitely, and then not even just that. As the team grew, I actually would use the reasons of, hey, look, you can get your bills paid too. You can have nice clothes and have nice things. So I call myself being like a motivational speaker for selling weed on campus. Ironically, my name started to get bigger and bigger, and as it got bigger, more people had more eyes on me. And, and how that goes is, someone wants what you got. And that's how I end up stabbing a guy and facing an attempted murder.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about your mindset while you were in prison. So how did you, I imagine days are very hard there.
Definitely. And I think the part that made it the worst was counting days. And I couldn't help it. I went from counting day 301 to day 403. And just like in the movies, you see people that would tally on the walls. Because I was on the same cell for 2.5 years. So you can only imagine how many tallies was on my wall. And it was just like, it was insane to me. Which is one of my chapters in my book, Insanity. But I pretty much told myself as time went by, it was a cold winter day, getting out isn't enough, because when I was in there the first time, I just wanted to get out. That's all I cared about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm young, I'm 18, you know, I'm still in my days where I want to go back to college and mess with women, and it was just like, I just wanted to get out. But now, my second go around, it was like, whoa, this time I got way more time, because now I got sentenced to 11 years as opposed to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Parole saying that, hey, look, you may not even get out of here for 7 years. That's what I've been told a lot. Case
Wow.
manager, case counselors, like, look, you're going to do, this your second time being incarcerated, you're going to do at least 7 years. So the mindset became, look, if I get out this time, I got to get out and stay out. So thought it was catchy over time, get out and stay out. So I should say that, get out and stay out, get out and stay out. And then I played with the acronym, GOASO, get out and stay out, go so. And I would just tell myself every day, go so, go so, go so, go so. And I even made the A, because a lot of times "and" isn't in the acronym. You know, they keep that part out. But it was like, for me, that "and" was so important that I had to make it its own acronym. Yeah. So that's when GOSO was born. And I use that every day as my mindset to get out and stay out of incarceration, get out and stay out of a lifestyle that's criminal, and come home and make something successful of myself.
Yeah. So what challenges did you face in prison for that get out and stay out mentality? Because I would imagine that not everyone has that mentality, and maybe you are amongst a few in it. I don't know.
It was hard. When I first got incarcerated, I would try to sleep it away, and I learned really, really fast. In those first 90 days, my back was killing me. You know, I would try to take a shower, eat, go back in my cell, not be involved with nobody. But after like 90 days, like my body was in like so much pain, and then I would try to take sleeping pills.
Yeah,
that's what helped me sleep so long. I would sleep 15-hour days, you know, 16-hour days, and it wasn't helping. It was like, it's only 90 days that gone by. And then I remember my cell buddy saying, look, man, you got 11 years. You on day 90, and look how much pain you in. You really think you're going to be able to sleep all this away? And I was like, you're right. So I had to find a new substitute. And for a second, it was reading. You know, I would read, and that got me through. But then, you know, and to be honest, they had some stuff called synthetic marijuana. You ever heard of that? K2? Mm-hmm. And I got caught up in the K2 phase. You know, for like 60 days, I was smoking that, and it was like altering my mind. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and it was like destroying my mind, and it was just like, I reached a day where it was like, whoa, I got to snap out of this. Yeah. And I never took it again, and I went back to reading, and that's, you know, the more I read, the more I seen enlightenment to see how I could be successful when I got out, and that's where GOSO came from.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So you got out of prison. What was the first thing you did?
First thing I did, I was in front of a Rite Aid, which I thought was interesting, because the first thing it made me think about was recovery. Yeah. So I actually looked at that Rite Aid for a while, and that's where I had my ride pick me up from. I said, pick me up from Rite Aid. He was like, Rite Aid? I was like, yeah, from Rite Aid. And the whole time I'm waiting for them, I'm just looking at the Rite Aid signs. It's like, recovery. Like, this is the start for me to recover. So I went home, see my family, of course. But then I think the third day, I took, because you get a check when you leave prison. And it's $50. So I'm like, $50? Like, what am I supposed to do with $50? What if I didn't have no family? Yeah. I just came home with $50. So I said, you know what? I called my dad. I said, Dad, what was your first hustle? He was like, candy. I said, okay, I know I really don't want a job. I got all these plans of what I want to do. I want to bring GOSO. I want to bring it to the world. So I actually took a $50 prison check. I went to Morgan State University. It was a grocery store there, and I bought $50 worth of candy. I got a bucket out of the garage, and I actually literally went on campus and told the college students, like, hey, look, I just came home from prison. You know, I want to start this movement. This is what it's called. It's called GOSO, get out, stay out. And I would YouTube it. To this day, you can see when I first came home, and I would say day 3 or day 10 or day 12. So I still play with those days because I've been doing it so long. But now it was a reset of days. It was the GOSO days. And I wish I could tell you right now, since I've been home, how many days. If I really look, I could tell you. But, I've been home for like 5 years now. And then it started with a bucket of candy. A bucket of candy turned to T-shirts. T-shirts got turned to hats. I got a couple of celebrities who wore the brand. And, you know, when it got slow, that's when I was like, what can I do to, you know, keep this going? Yeah. And that's when I tried to get my real estate license.
So for those who don't know, how hard is it to get a job when you have a felony on your record?
Ooh, well,
almost impossible.
It's almost impossible. And what I've learned, and I actually learned this when I was being incarcerated, was that you got to network. It's who you know. There's times in prison where I've seen people get stabbed or not get stabbed because of who they knew. So I had to play on the who do I know. If I know that I got this felony and I know I want to get in real estate, the first thing that came to my mind was, I got to get cool with a brokerage. See if they can give me some type of leeway to this fight that I may have. So I actually came across one of my mentors, Sean, and Sean actually had a record that was similar to mine. So I just thought that, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And so I actually had Keller Williams right on my behalf, and they were okay with doing that, which I'm grateful for. And that was like one form of evidence that I had. Mm-hmm. So I realized that this is like going to trial all over again. So the more evidence I have, the more better chance I get of being, in this case, not guilty and being able to get my license. Yeah. So what I did when I was home was I did a lot of motivational speaking. I did a lot of community work, but I made sure I got evidence, and that's what I would call it, like evidence to show that I did this, documents that I did this. So when they denied my license, I was very upset, but I read it, and it showed on there that you get a chance to appeal this decision. So I knew that I had to look at it in my mind like this is like going to trial all over again, because the trial that I had, if I lost, I would be in prison for the rest of my life. First degree attempted murder carried life. Second degree attempted murder carried life. First degree assault carried 30 years. Those three, if I got found guilty on any one of those three, I'd have been washed up right now. But I got found guilty on all the other ones, and they were misdemeanors. And in the state of Maryland, you can do 25% of your time if you go for parole. In this case, I did a little bit more than 25. I did 33, but in those 30, and that 33%, makes for the 3.5 years on the 11, and how I came home. So, yeah.
And so you took your real estate exam, you passed, and then you had to get your license. Then they denied it.
Yep.
So they have a trial of some sort.
Yep.
And because of all the work that you've done, you had a community rally behind you.
Yep. And every time I spoke to them about what I've done, I would stop and then show them the evidence.
Yeah.
I would tell them what I've been doing. I would stop and say, here's the proof. I had Under Armour. Under Armour gave me about $10,000 worth of gear. I went out in the community and gave it all away. And I showed proof. Look, this is what Under Armour gave me. Here's the invoices. They gave it to me for free. Boom, I went to this church. I gave them this. Here's the pictures.
Yeah.
And I showed them all of that. And they was just like, when I was done with all of that, like I could just see them look at each other like we was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But I was up really late, 2 in the mornings, 3 in the mornings, 4 in the mornings. And in my mind, I looked at it like I'm going to go against the toughest of the toughest. They're going to ask me questions on every little thing in my life. And I got to be prepared. I got to be my own lawyer. Yeah. And that's what I felt like I was doing. Mm-hmm. Every question that they had, it wasn't a misstep at all. When they asked me a question, I was on it. Boom. Everything they had, I had everything chronological from the time I started to the time I ended, and I gave it all to them. So it was like, it could be set as a blueprint for other people who are felonies. Now, everybody's case by case, of course.
Yeah.
But that's like the best blueprint I could give somebody. If you're going to go in that situation, you got to come prepared. You can't go in there just thinking, hey, look, this is why I want my license. You got to show why, because you have to show that you aren't a threat in the community anymore.
Yeah. I can appreciate how hard that must have been and how, thank God, you had the go-so mentality.
Correct.
During it. What other practices did you put in place? So you read a lot. You are now out of prison, and now you're trying to start this career. What other ways did you find yourself learning and growing?
Great question. That's a great question. Mentorship.
Yeah.
Mentorship didn't start when I came home and found real estate mentors. Mentorship started in prison. I had to be around people who, even though they were in prison, they knew that when they got out, or even some that I had that wasn't getting out, they had the mentality to know that this isn't the end for me. I still can be something. I still can have a peace of mind. Because at first I was being around people who didn't have a peace of mind. Hence, smoking K2. Hence, trying to sleep the whole time away. I was around individuals who were upset, frustrated about where we were. Mm-hmm. Of course, in a place like that, who wouldn't be frustrated? But then I ran across people, and some I'll never forget, that had a peace of mind in there. I never forget being in the yard, and there was this guy in the corner, man, and he would work out in the corner by himself, and he'll stop for a second, and then I'll see him reading. He'd be one of the few people in the yard that read. I'd be like, so I went over there and talked to him one day, and it was like, he just changed my whole mentality. He said, you got to look within, man. He said, you can't go out and search and try to find it. He said the peace is within.
Yeah.
You know, you got to look inside. You know, it's not this place. You got to turn this place into a college. And I first was like, how am I going to do that? You know, and he was like, meet me in the library tomorrow. So I always loved to read. Mm-hmm. So he just pretty much shifted what I was reading. So I would read more Deepak Chopra. You know, he's one of my favorite authors. You know, I would read things that will give me enlightenment.
Yeah.
You know, I practice Buddhism in there for the peace of mind of it.
Yeah.
You
what
know?
does peace of mind mean to you?
Peace of mind is knowing what you want to accomplish. Like knowing if you have goals in life, like how are you going to get there and who do you have in your corner to help you?
Yeah.
So waking up in the morning with purpose is probably the best way to really say what peace is.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up in the morning, you're not sure where you want to go, you're not sure what you want to do, or you're not sure if you want to keep this person in your life. Like that's an instability, you know. So if you wake up in the morning with purpose, you know, hey, look, you know, I'm a get this license. I know I'm be able to teach these students. I know that I can help shift the community this way. You know, that gives you purpose. So purpose and peace to me are what's the word I'm looking for? They coexist together. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like best friends.
Yeah.
So if you got purpose and you got peace, you got purpose. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I do feel that way. Like on mornings where I don't know what I'm going to do, it is a less peaceful day.
Right.
And when, you know, your hands are tied, I have been in a situation where I couldn't do what I wanted to do in my career because of an agreement. And so there was a period of time where it was like a blackout, and it was miserable because, man, knowing what your purpose is and not being able to do it because of consequences, whether good or bad, is just, I'm sure, like heartbreaking. And mine was only for a few months. And I just know like the depression hit so hard during that time. So I'm just really impressed that for so many years and continue. And you are a force in the real estate world because you're doing things. So you became a realtor, but then you decided I'm going to go one bigger. So now you're doing what?
Now I'm actually a mortgage lender.
Okay.
And I actually put my real estate license in refer status so I could truly focus on just being a mortgage lender. The advantages that it has now is that since I'm a mortgage lender and I got experience as a real estate agent, I still have all these real estate agents that I've teach and coach. And as a mortgage lender, I can do it because I have the license. Yeah. So they'll call me for advice all the time about their real estate needs. But then they'll come back around and say, well, Alan, look, I need you to do a mortgage.
Yeah.
So it's like I win both ways. And if I have somebody who already may have a mortgage lender and they come to me as the realtor because the clients I built over the years, I could take them and refer it out to another realtor. They're happy because I just gave them business and I can get 25% off of just giving them a free client. Yeah. So it's like either way, you know, it's like I can pretty much be on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. Would, you know, I have some clarifying questions to ask about like the charge that you got. So would it have been a felony if there wasn't a stabbing, or was the distribution, would that have been a felony in and of itself?
Well, good question. So when I actually, crazy enough, the 3.5 years that I did in prison was for misdemeanors.
Oh.
Because I went to jury trial.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so if I'd have got found guilty of those first 3, that definitely would have been a felony, and I'd have been gone
so
for a long time.
Oh, so you don't have a felony charge?
I have it from my first charge.
That's right.
So the robbery made it a felony, and I did 18 months on that.
Got it.
So that was the felony. But on this go around, I actually was in prison for all misdemeanors.
So in cannabis is a misdemeanor?
Yes.
Got it.
Now, I'm not sure if distribution of marijuana is considered a felony.
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it is.
If you got possession, then possession will be a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
If they find you and you get found guilty of
distribution. So they didn't find you as like the distribution.
Well, to be honest, they found weed in my house. But they had the big charges, so they didn't care.
True.
It was like, we got this guy on attempted murder. Yeah, he got pounds of weed in here, but we're not worried about that.
Yeah. So, I gotcha. Yeah. Because I think, you know, the big thing that's happening now across the country is just the disproportionate amount of like Black men and anybody who is a person of color who has marijuana like they're targeted much more felony charge, like in the ability for them to get jobs out of prison, like the calls for the expungement of nonviolent cannabis charges. So when you're meeting people, knowing these things, like how can you offer help to someone who's either come out of prison with a misdemeanor or with a felony, cannabis related or not? Like from a mindset, like what do you tell them? And B, like what are some of the strategies they can do to help get a job in something and build those dreams?
Well, one thing that I've interviewed a lot of people, more so informal, about when they've had cannabis charges or when they got caught selling weed.
Yeah.
They have an entrepreneurship mindset.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. I think
them having an entrepreneurship mindset is, what do you truly want to do?
Yeah.
You could get a job, that could help pay the bills, help get you by. But I asked them, like, what do you truly want to do? Someone maybe want to be artists. Someone may want to be in car sales or sales in itself. So I feel like with that being said, it opens the door to really putting them in a position where they could be their own bosses. Mm-hmm. If you know that the job that you're trying to get, it's a good chance you're not going to get it, but you're this excellent painter over here and people love your paint. Well, let's get you an LLC. Let's see if we can make some money off of it. Let's see if we can get you a mentor who's already making money off of it. Let's use your talent and see if we can get you a job that way.
Yeah.
As opposed to you just going to a job and then they just seeing you as a number, putting, I'm a felony, and then you're not getting a job in the first place.
Yeah.
I think we really put more focus on what our talent is and zero in on what that is. If we have this record, we can use that to try to bypass, in a sense, and get jobs that make sense for us. Mm-hmm. And just like, I'll use the painting theory. If you're like this great painter, but you got a record, but if you get an LLC and you get a mentor, that mentor a lot of times has connections. And with his connections, because he knows how great you are, it can be that job opportunity that way. Because you can get a certain job where they're not checking the application. If you got this great talent and you have a mentor who opens the door to get you in this position, they're going to bypass that.
Yeah.
I
think what I hear is like finding out exactly what that person's dream is and what they're great at, instead of saying like, because you've gone to prison, you just need to figure out how to get a job. Like you still can just construct a beautiful life afterwards, right? It's not easy though, right?
It's definitely not going to be easy there. People got different factors. Like for me, I don't have any children.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also consider, those, because a lot of them do, at this age. So it's like, well, Alan, that sounds good, but I got children, I got to pay the bills. Well, you're right, you do. But even with that dream in itself, that dream isn't going nowhere. If that's what you truly want to do, you can have the job. But on the side, that needs to be getting built on every day. If you work in 8 hours, I feel like should be mandatory that you still put an hour, 2 hours in what your passion is every day. Because ideally, you want to end up having this part of your job that you're only putting 2 hours a day overpower that 8 hours, and now you're in a position where, well, look, I'm making this amount of money off of my dream, but I'm making this amount of money off of my 9 to 5. How can I now use this as leverage to now only do this?
Yeah. I think that is such wise words. Do you mentor people now?
Yeah, I do it like informally, because my phone rings about 130, 140 times a day.
I know, real estate industry. So it's hard.
And they ask me questions, and I'm just a big fan. I'm pro entrepreneur.
I know.
Like to the max. But so yeah, I do mentor. I do help people who are trying to get their LLCs. That's one of the first things I always try to tell them: protect yourself. If you got lyrics or you got things that somebody could take, make sure you protect yourself before you do anything. Before you start putting it out there like that, get the basics down pat. Yeah. Understand how to trademark your logo, or understand service mark, or understand the LLC, understand having your own business account or your DUNS number. Like, understand that aspect, protect yourself, and then go out and push it.
Do you still do a lot of work in West Baltimore?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Every day. Yeah. I think what's easier for me now is I feel like I'm more so now, like, I'm all phone. I still will be out and I'll still go to places. Yeah. But now that I'm a mortgage lender, it's a little different. I'm not at the home inspections. Mm-hmm. I'm not in those anymore. Yeah. But I like to hear it. I like to talk to agents, see what they got going on. I got a lot of agents that I talk to every day, and they'll tell me their problems. I listen to them, and we'll strategize because I like the strategy of it. I like the number aspect of it. So
yeah, you are numbers. I mean,
yeah.
you learn to count. Like, I was trying to follow you from. I was like, he threw out a lot of numbers at once, and I just missed them all. But you can tell that you do love numbers. So before we wrap up, I want your advice to an 18-year-old who is sitting or laying in a jail bed, getting ready to go to prison. What do you tell that man or woman?
Same thing I've been told from my father. Like, you're there now. So that's first one. You're not going anywhere. So you got to document that. It has to be documented for so many reasons. One reason is for the reflection period, to see how you've grown or how you haven't grown. Second is for the legacy, because you will, hopefully, someone else will want to know about your situation. Somebody in your family may be in your boat. You know, the 2 books that I wrote so far, you know, when I'm no longer on this planet, they are still there. You know, son, grandson, it's down to my family. It's legacy.
Yeah.
So when you make it out of that situation, you just left a blueprint for somebody else too. So at that time, it's tough. You may not understand it because at 18, I didn't. But I did realize that when I get out of there, if I do write this every day, I can look back at this and give this to somebody, and that could be hope for them. Mm-hmm. So those are the first 2 things. And then when you are in there and you do get to the point where you're focused and you wanna get out of there, you got to be around like-minded people.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're gonna be around the opposite all day long. So even though you are incarcerated, even though you're in that space, there are still good people in there that made their mistakes, or they may not have been good people, but now they on the turn and they want to be good people. So you want to be around those, and you can clearly tell, because in jail and prison, you know, nothing is hidden. Everybody sees your emotions. Everybody, because you around these same people every single day. You can't hide how you feel. You might get do it for a week or 2, but if you're in there for years, it's going to show. Those that are broken will show. Those who are strong will show. So,
yeah. Alan, I think that your like-mindedness, that is why people flock to you now, because you are that beacon of hope for so many. And I mean, I've known you for a couple of years and have just watched you soar, and I just think you've done the impossible. You have shown people that we can make mistakes and we can be better and we can be amazing members of society. And I just thank you so much for being so honest from the get-go, from the very beginning of your incarceration. You've always been nothing but 100% real about it. And I think that is what will ultimately save people and help them find the way. So thank you so much for coming, Alan.
Of course. Glad to be here. Definitely.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode, and we will see you next time.